Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co-host, Cantu. On the other side, before we get to baseball talk, football season is back.
I'm excited.
2024
I'm excited.
NFL starts today, meaning all the fantasy football leagues are rolling.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Have to see the punishment, what comes at the end of the
Oh,
season.
that was my idea. So I'm gonna be so upset if it is me, the
It
one that has to.
usually is the person that gives out the idea of what's like if the idea is like, okay, for last place, you got to go to, let's say, a musical at downtown Houston or something like that. I think that's, I mean, whoever says the idea basically at the end of the day is going to get
We'll
the
see.
last place in the league.
We'll see.
Which, I mean, we don't have nothing like that going so far. So far. That's the key words right there. But sorry for everybody on 6:30 as we are recording. Usually we did say at 6 o'clock. We did have a little bit of technical difficulties.
We're fashionably late.
Yes, and technical difficulties at its finest. You know how technology is in this world. It is innovating and improving each and every damn day. But episode 211, Angel, Astros seeing red this series is the title of this episode. Wow. What a series. What a series for the Houston Astros. 75-65 is their record after that series. Like I said, swept by the Reds. They have lost 9 straight games against the Red. I think their name back then used to be called the Red Stockings, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or the Red Legs.
When? Like a long time ago?
Yeah, back in them days of
Yeah.
like the 1900s.
The Red Stockings, I think.
Red Stockings, I want to say too, but I'm not 100% sure. Their last win against the Reds, Angel, what year do you think?
Oh,
was
I'm
the
looking
last
at it.
time that they
I was gonna mention it. I'm looking at it right now.
So
I'm
do you
looking
want to
at
give
it.
us a guess? And if you already have it right in front of you, I mean, might as well
Yeah.
tell everybody.
I have it right in front of us. Right in front of me. So the Astros last beat the Reds in June 19th, 2016. You have to go back to guys. These are the guys that led the victory. Evan Gaddis.
As in pitching?
No. Hitting. They both hit homers to the game. Evan Gaddis and Luis Valbuena.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. to Valbuena.
However,
Yeah, I mean, Evan Gaddis. Oso Blanco. That's all. I
yeah,
was trying to think. Well, I know he had a bear in his nickname.
yeah, El Oso Blanco, yeah. However, that was at Minute Maid Park. The last time the Astros won in Cincinnati, you have to go back to September 9th, 2012.
Oh, wow. If you would have told me the last time the Astros won a game at least, and you told me in 2012 was the last time, I thought you would have been crazy because them are the years. Well, those seasons were 100+ losses.
Yeah. Do you want to know who homered in that game?
2012. Give me Matt Dominguez.
That's one. Third baseman at the time, yes. Matt
third baseman.
Dominguez.
Jordan Schaefer.
Ooh, Jordan Schaefer. Was he at the 2012? I know. Yeah, no, but it wasn't him.
Brian Bogosevic.
The current Astros post game broadcaster. No, it was not him.
Last one. Brett Wallace. How about the first baseman?
Oh, Brett Wallace. I forgot that name. I think Chris Carter was in 2012. I think Brett Wallace
was he?
I could be wrong. But it was Tyler Green, shortstop.
I will not guess that.
Me
Never.
neither.
Never would have guessed that.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Like that shocked me too. 2012, and I be it. That was the they switched from the NL to the AL. So I know they don't play as often, but they've been swept past 2 times. They've gone to Cincinnati, so that's crazy there.
Yeah, Cincinnati swept them last year when they came to Houston, but that is shocking against a former NL Central team, Cincinnati Reds. But yeah, we'll recap this game, talk about a little bit here and there. First in the American League West, still they're still in front of the Seattle Mariners. Mariners did gain a game on them, which is 5 now. Is the the lead the Astros have on the M's, but
Yeah.
third in the American League as well, 6 games from tying the Orioles in first place and 5 games from tying the Guards. Last time we were talking, it was like I want to say 5-3 for
Hmm.
the
Yes.
Yankees and the Guardians. Now it's Orioles 6, Guards 5.
Yeah, the Mariners didn't really help themselves. I don't know if you saw that series between the A's and the Mariners, but two walk off back to back days with a walk off for the Oakland Athletics. So they didn't do themselves any favors there.
Shea Bangaliers, as they call Mr. Langoliers, the catcher. Who was the other guy? Seth, was
I
it
think
Seth Brown?
Seth Brown, yeah, so
Yeah,
Seth
Seth
Brown.
Brown
Yeah.
walk-off hit as well in game 2. Unfortunate for the starting pitchers that they have, man. Unfortunate because
Yeah. That
that
offense can't.
rotation will look so good in the postseason if the offense could get going for the Mariners, but that has not happened in this season for the Seattle Imps. But
I think you
recap
mentioned
this.
too.
Go
I
ahead.
think I mentioned too that Grady Sizemore was. Oh wait, yeah, was ejected. Was out for the White Sox.
That's White
Oh,
Sox.
Dan Wilson was Seattle Mariners. My
Dan
bad.
Wilson is the
Yeah, Dan
Seattle
Wilson.
Mariners interim slash head coach. But we recap that Cincinnati series. Well, of course, when it comes to series sweeps, we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, as well as Brian Abreu. Angel, I mean, very. I'm not saying concern, but is there some type of fatigue in him coming up? Because he has a lot of pitch. He's already pitched a lot of innings this season. We'll talk about that later on. Who's invited to the Carne Asada? The Arizona Diamondbacks will be going into Houston. We'll get that pitching preview train station with a little bit of injury news updates with Kyle Tucker and around the horn as our Ray Angel has gone a sneak peek with Grady Sizemore getting his first ejection from the home plate umpire. Which, yeah, if you saw that at bat, at least for Andrew Benintendi, yeah, that was well recognized of being tossed in that game. But before we get started, Angel, let everybody know where they can find us on social as well as on the podcast.
Absolutely. If we look down that ticket right now, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts there. If you missed something, you want to catch up, you want to let your friends know what we're talking about, that's where you can find us. We're also on TikTok, Twitter, Threads, Instagram. On Twitter, Threads, we are full steam ahead. On Instagram, we are FSA full steam ahead. But yeah, subscribe, follow, like, share, retweet, like whatever you want to do. But you know, we want that volume up.
Yes, most definitely. But this series overall, I mean, it was very frustrating from the start. Yainer Diaz was basically the only RBI production in that first game on Labor Day, which think about it too. How you're gonna have a day game Monday, off day on Tuesday, and then finish the series on Wednesday and Thursday.
It was for rain.
If anything, you should give the off day on Monday and then play the 3 game series like that. But that's Major League Baseball for you. Like I said, Yair Diaz only brought in them 3 runs in that first game. Justin Verlander just didn't have his stuff, which we did talk about the last episode. Um, if if you honestly think if Justin Verlander's the guy to go into a postseason start at this moment, we both gave our thoughts. We debated about the topic as well. So game 1, we already talked about. Game 2, Spencer Arrighetti, man, just didn't have his stuff, and you got to give credit to the other team too. And they were jumping on his 4 seamer like nothing. Next thing you know, Command kind of started getting away from him. Them last couple batters, they did bat around the first inning, which we'll talk about here later. And then the offense, just in general too, just was not there. Joe Espada did get tossed from a questionable, very questionable replay review on Alex Bregman's at bat. I mean, honestly, I don't know how New York misses that. That is just clear as day. But at the end of the day, that happens. I want to say Joe Espada has gotten ejected more times than Dusty Baker has had in his Astros tenure.
Absolutely.
Because I wanted what Chicago was one, New York was another. Today, and I know I feel like I'm missing in one more. I feel like I'm
Yeah,
missing one
you
more.
got me.
But I mean, to credit on the spot, I mean, yeah, he's gonna back up Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman did already get ejected in that Kansas City series, and then to get ejected here would have been crazy. But it was Joe Espada that defended his player, as well as Jeremy Pena. that ball in that second game when Arrighetti was on the mound, if he would have fielded that cleanly, which I don't know if it was a funny hop or he just didn't see it cleanly through inside his glove, they would have gotten out that inning. Spencer Arrighetti wouldn't have the stat line that he had. And I want to say that's number 7 out of 15 or 16 games now for him. I think that's the 19th error of the season for him as well. So overall, I mean, this series just wasn't really great for starting pitching. It wasn't great for defense, and it wasn't good for offense.
Yeah, that honestly, that Spencer Getty uh inning, it shouldn't even had to be in that point. I do want to mention something is uh I know we kind of talked about it. If Jeremy Pena makes that play at short, the inning's over. I think it was
Mhm.
what 3 runs at the time.
Yeah.
So giving yourself a chance. Now, did Spencer Getty not have his stuff? Absolutely, he did not. Right. So I mean, second inning, you never know what could have happened. But at that moment, like I think a little frustration kicked in, just
Yeah.
because you did like you did what you had to do to get out the inning. Yet defense wasn't behind you, so now you gotta go out there and throw more pitches, and it was just like it's just a downward spiral from there. But I don't know. I mean, it's crazy though because we were just talking how great Spencer Getty was in August, how um, he was rookie of the month, and baseball just comes and humbles you real quick, taking you back to reality. So I mean, this is a learning moment. He's still rookie. You know, you've seen how great Spencer Getty is, and you've seen how poor he could be. So now it's just learning from it. Toss it, like like Ted Lasso says, be a goldfish and move on to the next.
Ooh, a little Ted Lasso
I
analogy
love
there.
that show. I
How?
love that show.
Why don't you? Okay, so the good and bad, the ugly. I mean, which one do you want to start off first? Do you want to save the good for the end of the segment, or should we start off with the good now?
We can go with the good now.
Let's go with the good now. Hunter Brown. I think that was the only good out of this series. Just continuing to dominate in each and every one of his starts. 6 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. 97 pitches were thrown. 62 of them were strikes. Like I said, just continues to roll on. Whatever, how many appearances? 25 appearances. Drops that ERA to 2.72. I mean, he's really done a fascinating job. This is the guy I believe that could honestly be your game two starter if he continues to pitch the way he's been pitching. I mean, he's just really been dominant for the Astros, gave them an opportunity to win that game in that series finale to prevent a sweep. But bullpen comes in, Brian Abreu, which we'll talk about here later on.
Yeah,
But Hunter Brown, at the end of the day, just did a fascinating job.
I have a question. Remember when Blake Snell won the Cy Young? I think it was last year.
22, I mean, 23,
Yeah,
yes.
he started poorly
Mhm.
and then was able to pick it up, and ended up winning Cy Young, right?
Yeah.
However, do you think Hunter, if Tariq Schoolball wasn't having the season he has, because I mean I think he's a runner there, absolutely, because he's leading the Triple Crown race for pitching, right?
Mhm.
Do you think Hunter Brown would be a thought for the AO Cy Young?
Honestly, then he could be a top five because you're having an ERA that's coming from 11 or 9
Yeah,
after
nine.
that start against Kansas City and then bringing it down to a under 3.50, 3.50 ERA. That's pretty damn, I mean, that's phenomenal, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot of starting pitchers could do that in this game. This game is hard already enough, even though the Astros division isn't one of the strongest divisions in Major League Baseball. I mean, they've been playing against great teams. And
Mhm.
what he's been doing from that, part of the early part of the season to now, honestly, I'd give him top five, finishing in the Cy Young category, just like Framber Valdez. Framber Valdez started rough in the early comings of this season, and look what he's doing in the second part. And they're already talking about him maybe in a Cy Young category as well.
Yeah, I mean, but that, like, being able to find it in the middle of the season and turn it around is, I mean, still phenomenal. Hats off for all the hard work he's doing there. 'Cause that's pretty remarkable there.
Yeah, I mean, we always preach about starting pitching in the podcast. We've always talked about the way that they've been pitching, especially in the month of August. Crazy numbers for all 6 starting pitchers. But like Angel said, not everything's going to go everybody's way. It's baseball. It happens for a reason. And that's why we're going to put Spencer Arrighetti on the bad of this segment. It's not ugly, but it was bad because Spencer Arrighetti just got the American League Rookie of the Month for the month of August. The way he's been pitching, 189 ERA, like I said, 12.7 strikeout per 9 innings. I mean, 7 earned runs allowed in those 5 or 6 starts in the month of August, and he's just done a fascinating job stepping up in this rotation. But you're going to run through a rough game here and there, and that game was against Cincinnati Reds. 2 and thirds, 2 and thirds, not 1 and 2 thirds,
Two-thirds.
2 thirds. Yes,
Yeah.
two thirds. You know what I mean? 6 hits, 9 earned runs, 3 walks, and the biggest one of them all, 0 strikeouts. That is one thing Spencer Arrighetti loves doing is punching out guys. And this game, he just did not do that. 38 pitches were thrown, 23 of them were strikes. Allowed 4 extra base hits. I want to say Jonathan India was one.
Yeah.
Ellie De La Cruz
That
was
was
another.
home run.
Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz had a double. I know I'm missing 2 more, but I just don't have it at the top of my head.
Uh, wasn't it Eddie the Cruz double? It was Frito. I think had a single. Uh, Let's go back in the.
2 extra base hits we do not know. If you knew, put it in the comments below. Um,
However, go ahead. Go ahead. No, finish.
no, I was just gonna say, just tip your cap to the Reds. I mean, the Reds had a game plan against them. They attacked that four seamer that he throws a lot, and majority of them hits were off his four seamer. I mean, they
Yeah.
just tracked that pitch really well. I'm guessing the scouting report with their hitting coach. I mean, they probably told these guys like, look at this four seamer. It's flat. He has a pretty good one. Just sit on it and just. I mean, I think that was the biggest thing of them all. Was just how the Reds went into this game and with a game plan and just attacked his four seamer pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say like shout out. I mean, just yeah. What did you say? What tip you got to the Red Hitters? Because they had, yeah, like you said, they came in with a game plan. They were taking that ball the other way.
Mhm.
Like they were picking on a fastball. They were letting it get deep, and then just doing what they got to do. Like they weren't trying to do too much on it. They were just trying to rope it the other way, and it worked. I mean, Jonathan India, a second fastball he sees takes it to the no, sorry, first fastball he sees takes it down center field, and that curveball was pretty deceiving. So they were like taking it, and I just they're focused on one pitch. So I wonder if he was tipping his pitches. I mean, I don't think there was a call on that, but just great game plan by the Reds.
Yeah, and that's really interesting too. Like you're saying, if he was tipping his pitches, because some pitchers do tip, and then that's how they know they attack which pitch. Real quick, going through that first inning, like you said, India hit that home run. De La Cruz doubles. Tyler Stevenson grounds out. TJ Friedel was the other guy. Yeah, I think you did mention him at the double. Spencer Steer lined out to Jordan, which was a hard lined out. Ty France, I think that's another
That's
guy
what it
that
was.
the
Yeah,
Astros
Astros
are
killed it.
glad to see gone. 333 career average against the Astros. Obviously, with his tenure over there with the Mariners, I mean, he attacked the Astros. I think he had multi hits in all 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So Ty France singled, Jake Fraley walked, Santiago Espinal walked. Ahmed Rosario was the other guy that hit
I'm
the double.
mad. Yeah.
Jonathan India walked, Ellie De La Cruz singles. And then that's when they took out Spencer Arrighetti out of the game.
I mean, Eddie De La Cruz almost had a triple too. I don't know if you saw that play, but Chas McCormick dove for the ball.
Good
I
effort.
think, yeah, good effort, but it wasn't close. Luckily, Jordan was there to back him up because that could have been with Eddie De La Cruz's speed, maybe a triple inside the park home run.
Yeah, I'm looking at the hits right now. All these guys were attacking four seamers. Friedel, four seamer. India, four seamer. Ellie De La Cruz, four seamer. Four seamer as well for Spencer Steer, the one I told you that he lined out. I think it was over 100 exit velocity on it. These guys were just sitting fastball.
Yeah.
Sitting fastball, adjust to that breaking ball. And I mean, they just, like I said, they just had a game plan. They did a pretty damn good job against the rookie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Last but not least, on the recap, we are going to go with the ugly, and it was the offense in this series. There was just no offensive production from the get-go. Let's talk about the runs real quick. There was only 3 scored on Monday's contest. Wednesday's contest was 5 runs, and Thursday's contest, which is today, a goose egg on the board. Monday, 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Wednesday, 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Then obviously today with No runs scored allowed, which I think you got to tip your cap to that rookie pitcher as well, who pitched a good game against the Astros. 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
For game two, I think it just puts the offense in a tough position to kind of come up. I mean, when you're down 9-0 in the first inning, I know that kind of puts like, damn, like we really got to do something. At least put one damn run up on the board. Um, it kind of puts a toll on your offense. I'm specifically talking for game two because that's a pretty damn big hole to climb up. 9 runs, and then they continue on putting 10, 11. Then obviously the Astros did start scoring some runs. Zach DeZenzo got an RBI here and there. John Singleton pitch hit, home run. Same goes for Chas McCormick, which is good to see McCormick starting to hit the ball as well. Um, yeah, it puts a tough toll on your offense to do that, but it doesn't get any better when your top four
Hmm.
players in your lineup isn't hitting. That is talking about Jose Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Yainer Diaz, and then Jeremy Pena was in the fourth spot in game one when Bregman was still on the bench. Combined in this 3-game series, Angel, the Astros batted 1 through 4, a buck 50, a 150 batting average combined, 6 for 40, 3 RBIs. That was only coming from Yainer Diaz, 4 walks and 10 strikeouts. Jose Altuve and Jordan Alvarez did hit the ball pretty damn hard in that series finale. I don't know if you saw them replays. Ellie De La Cruz making a nice play at short.
Yeah.
Robin Altuve from a hit, and then Ty France. Robin Alvarez on a line drive hit to right. Yeah, when those top four guys aren't getting nothing going in this game or really in this series, it's going to be a long night for the whole offense.
Yeah, that's what I was. I was thinking mention the same thing. I was looking at the number of hits. On Monday they had 6 hits, Wednesday 9 hits, and Thursday they only had 4 hits. And you made a great point there that the Astros sometimes are too reliant on their 1-4 hitters at the end of the line. At the end, those last 5 hitters need to step up at the end of the lineup. I think having Kyle Tucker back once he comes back will be a great boost to that lineup. But it's like it's baseball, right? It's like you just can't hand the ball over to Altuve Jordan every single time and ask them to score. Like every guy has to step up and do their job. And I think sometimes that, uh, I think the only exception was that Wednesday game because if you look at Wednesday's game, they got 9 hits and most of the RBIs came once the starters were gone.
Yeah.
But that Monday and Thursday game, prime example of being a little too reliant on Altuve, on Yanier Diaz, on Bregman, Jeremy Payne, and stuff like that. Like the other guys need to step up a little bit. But just shout out to the Reds pitching too. Like just it was a overall good series for Reds, honestly, pitching, hitting wise. They did everything they had to do. And looks like they still have the Astros number there.
Yeah, Nick Martinez's changeup is pretty damn sick. I don't know if you've seen him pitch
I
that
did.
that changeup to lefties. My gosh, that is such a deceiving pitch to them left-handed hitters. Even that rookie,
I think
I don't have his name on me right now, but that rookie pitcher did pitch really well against him.
I like how he set up Yanier Diaz. He threw him first pitch changeup, swung and miss. First pitch changeup, swung and miss. Second changeup that came with a fastball high and a swung and miss. That was 1, 2, 3.
Outside pitch too to Yiner. I don't know if that
Yeah.
talks about that too. But like I said, even Victor Caratini, I know one of them at bats, he thought it was a ball four, and it honestly should have been ball four. But Blue gave Martinez the benefit of the doubt, and then Martinez like, all right, I went outside. Let me go inside on you, make it look like a two-seamer out of my hand, and he delivered that pitch. And shit, that changeup was in and broke on that outside low corner of the strike zone.
Okay.
So Nick Martinez's changeup was pretty damn good against the Astros. But you did make a good point in that Wednesday game. All the starters came out of the game. Altuve had 1 hit out of it, as well as Alex Bregman. Victor Caratini started that game, so he stayed in. But Caratini won. Dubon had the pitch hit for Jeremy Pena. He got a hit. Ben Gamel had a hit. I think he was the only one that got that run scored on the board, scoring that first run of that game. Zach DeZenzo comes up with a pair of RBIs. And then Chas McCormick, 2 for 3. Like I said, I think that's the positive thing too of that game and really that series. Chas McCormick did hit the ball really good after getting optioned, then coming back up from AAA. I think that's a big confidence booster for him heading into the series against Arizona. But before we get started with Brian Abreu talk, Houston X Factor, Astros are just giving the Mariners a break to make the division more interesting. And meant to say Eric Getty was not having it with the Astros having one of the best ERAs in the majors. Yeah, just one of them days. One of them days that not everything's going to go perfect. And sure enough, this series, it just went from all three phases of the game. Starting pitching, bullpen, offense. You can even throw in defense. Defense wasn't really there for the Astros. I know Forrest Willie, 3-2 count. Zach DeZenzo's playing out on first base and not, trying to get the pick off. Forrest Willie throws it. And DeZenzo was right there behind the runner, just anticipating for that 3-2, 2-out count, see what the batters are going to do. But yeah, very interesting series for the Astros. Like you said, clear mind next going into the next series against the Diamondbacks, which that series is going to be a really postseason matchup for them. Moving on to Brian Abreu, which this is a guy that the Astros really need into the postseason coming up. And Brian Abreu, we talked about Hunter Brown throwing 6 scoreless innings, comes in, allowed a solo home run to Ty France, then gives up another extra base hit. He finished the month of August 1-1 with a 6.08 ERA, giving up 9 earned runs in 13 innings pitched. He has currently pitched, Angel, 68 and 2/3 of an innings this season in 69 games. Nice. Last year, he pitched 72 innings, 72 games. So he's coming up at that plateau of already marking career highs, which I'm pretty sure he'll honestly go over it this season. He's lost a tick down in his velocity in both his slider and his four-seamer. Both run value on both pitches has significantly dropped as well. 2023 run value of the slider was a 15. That is remarkable. Four-seam fastball as well was pretty good, had a 5. 2024 slider, 3. Four-seam fastball, a -3 run value. Got to ask you, because this is what I wanted to ask in the last episode with Taylor Scott and Brian Abreu not having a really great month of August. But we'll talk about Brian Abreu specifically because that is one of the key factors in that back end of the Astros bullpen. Do you think maybe the Astros need to look at an alternative reliever, maybe putting Hector Neris into the 7th inning a little bit more? Maybe putting Caleb Borg. Caleb Borg has looked pretty well in that series against the Reds. You think they might need to look into, just for right now, putting another reliever in the 7th instead of Brian Abreu to give him a break?
Nah, I think he's fine. I think he, to me, it's more of a command issue. I'm gonna tell you why. So I got different dates of Brian Abreu's pitching, right? So let's go with Thursday, September 5th, which is today. His average velo on the fastball was 97 on the dot. Average velo for the slider was 85. Now let me take you to August 30th, a few days ago, against the Royals. 14 fastball velo, 96. Slider, 87. So not much drastic change. August 9th, against the Boston Red Sox, 96 on the fastball, 86.8 on the slider. Now let me take you even back, April 19th.
God,
fastball velocity was at 90. It was actually at 95. Mm-hmm. So it's a little uptick compared to that day. And then also, let me take you to April 15th there, 96 miles per hour. So I don't think it's a velocity issue. I don't think it's fatigue, because then you'll start noticing that drastic change in that fastball. But the fact that he was able to go from 95 to 97 right now, or at this point of season, I was looking at his fastball location and slider location. They're like down the middle of the plate, and when he has success, he's in the strike zone, but more near the corners. And this start against like if you look at Ty Francis' home run, it was out over the plate. Like it was like sitting on a platter for him. So to me, I think it's just more like command issue. And I think sometimes, depending on the player, some guys don't react good when they're like taken out of the row. They I feel like just let them work through it, see if it's a mechanical issue, why he's not locating, because fastball velocity is there. So I was just more like, have trust in him. I mean, if you look at his numbers, they're not bad. He's 2-2, 333 ERA, 91 strikeouts, 1.27 WHIP. I mean, The numbers are there. It's just more of it's kind of like Framber Valdez last year, right? He was great first half, little slump in the second half, but I think he can work his way out of it.
So you don't think fatigue could set in with body mechanics? That's another thing I think that could be a factor
Yeah,
because you could be dragging your arm, the
yeah,
placement, how you're following through. I think that could be a huge kind of deal, especially when you had mentioned it. He left the breaking ball right down the middle of the plate. That could be a big kind of thing. It doesn't have to necessarily be on velocity,
hmm
but arm motion, where you're following through, all that could make a huge
yeah.
change.
It could, and that's where that's where the pitching coach needs to step in, compare the video, and see how he can fix that.
But it's just crazy because 68 and two thirds in 69 games. Last year he pitched 72 in 72 games. Obviously, they always make that run in October. Then they had the little break. So you don't think maybe that's what I'm
Could
saying.
be,
I'm not
yeah,
I'm
could
not
be.
saying that it needs to happen. He needs to just stay there and all that type of stuff because you got to, like we talked about too. Hector Neris is kind of a little bit more fresh than Brian Abreu right now. That's the same thing
hmm
as Taylor Scott. Taylor Scott's already pitched over a bunch of innings this season compared to his career. I want to say, let me bring it up since we're on.
And actually, just to go with your point, right?
Go ahead.
Brian Abreu has pitched the most innings, or has appeared in the most games this season. He's tied with uh, Taylor Rogers from the San Francisco Giants. So they're both at 69 games, which is the highest
Mhm.
from any reliever.
Oh, okay. So that's what I'm saying with Taylor Scott. Look, I mean, Taylor Scott's kind of I would consider him a journeyman.
hmm
He's been with 6 teams before Houston, but from 2019, 16 and a third. 2020 comes along. He only threw not 2020, 2022, 12 innings. 2023, 17 and two thirds. Houston, a huge jump, 66 and a third. Now, I mean, he's had a phenomenal season, but in the month of August, 435 ERA compared to the other splits of the months. And then beginning of September, giving up 2 earned runs already, 540 ERA. You don't think the amount of innings that they're already pitching, you don't think, I'm pretty sure Taylor Scott needs a damn breather from a game or two. That's why I think Caleb Port is a huge guy. I thought even Forrest Willie, which we'll have an update on him, I thought that was big for him to get some innings in. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe as of right now, I would say personally, in my opinion, maybe give Hector Neris a couple of them 7 inning matchups, and then obviously giving not Brian Abreu, Ryan Presley the eighth, and then finishing off with Josh Hader in the ninth. I think that would help him just mechanically and just physically as well, because you don't know. I mean, these 162 games in a season, and he's already getting close to the 70 innings mark.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Again, just to explore our options. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it could be a thing too. But I think with Taylor Scott and Brandon Abreu is that now guys have more it's been more than half of the season. Teams are always looking for the edge, right? They're looking at analytics, they're looking at mechanics, they're looking at RPM, stuff like that. They also have more tape on these guys too,
Yeah.
like what their game plan is. Where they come with if they want to start with first pitch fastball, usually will be ready for the fastball. So it could be a mixture of things, right? Again, I'm not disagreeing with you. It could be, but we got to also look at the options, right? It could be that maybe fatigue's a factor, maybe the other teams are ready for them when they come out. Maybe they
Mhm.
need to adjust a little bit, or it can be command wise too, a mechanical issue. So you factor things.
Just have to see. In the last month of 23 games, I want to say, is left in this season. So they're going to be very critical. And Brian Abreu is going to be a big part of that, I would say, if they're going to make that run to the postseason.
Yeah, I mean the entire bullpen. I think,
Yeah.
and I'll let you know more about that in the upcoming things. But let's go to the carne asada. I mean, football. So, it's supposed to be great weather for Sunday. For those tailgatings, for those cookouts for the Texas game. So start planning with a carne asada brought to you by Full Steam Ahead. Just kidding. But but let's start with Hunter Brown. I think Hunter Brown. It was kind of like he was the easiest one to pick because it wasn't a great series for the Astros, but Hunter Brown was a bright spot there, like you mentioned earlier. Just in case you missed the recap of Hunter Brown earlier, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, walks, 6 strikeouts, and he's been great for a long time. But let's go. But let's talk since April 16th. He's posted an 11-5 record, 2.84 ERA, and that's in his last 24 appearances. So that's pretty remarkable stuff there. Again, the complete turnaround. Shout out to him and the pitching coach whoever found that. Sinker, whoever told him to throw it more. Shout out to them.
I think Alex Bergman deserves a little bit of credit too, and Ryan Presley. I want to say,
Team effort. And, welcome back, Chas McCormick. Welcome back, Chas McCormick, to the Ganesa, to the Astros roster. He again, like we mentioned earlier, it was a short stint AAA because Jake Myers was placed on a paternity leave, so they brought him right back, and he basically asked us, "I don't want to go back." He went 2 for 3 with an RBI in a walk in last night's game versus Cincinnati, and has made 3 starts at center field, going 4 for 10, 400 with a double, an RBI, and a walk in those games. I think he has 2 RBIs now.
I think he didn't want to play in the PCL championship.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, it's good. I mean, he'd have a ring if they go and win it.
Yeah, but
I wonder if that works for these major league players that go on the rehab assignments or just option. If the AAA team or AA, whatever teams in the playoffs, they end up winning the championship, do you think they get a ring out of it?
I'm sure they do, but I'm sure that's like more of a paperweight at that point. I'm sure they're not too worried about that one.
I mean, just think about it, though. That's a huge accomplishment. Imagine if the Astros win the World Series this year and the Sugarland Space Cowboys win that championship in the PCL. You get 2 rings.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it. I'm sure Bernard doesn't want a PCL championship ring. I'm sure he wants a World Series ring. But
he's never had one. Think about it. Come on.
But moving on to John Singleton, he hit his 13th home run of the season, which ties his career high. I don't know if you knew that, which was last reached in his rookie season with the Astros away back in 2014. So far, Singleton has been on a strong run recently. He's hitting 250 with 5 home runs and a 902 OPS his last 21 games, dating back to August 2nd. And then lastly, Zach Tizemso, the Rook, makes it again. He went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs in a start at their base, and that was his second multi-RBI game of his career. All right, season career. You can say he's a rookie.
The Ohio State, get it right.
Yeah,
the Ohio State University. I think it's like O-H. I don't know the I. I guess the I is just. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how the I don't know if they just go straight up like this or. I'm pretty sure he had some friends, some buddies, coaches, and some family. And I don't think he's from Ohio though.
I'm not sure. I didn't look it up. Let me see.
Not sure. But before we get to that pitching preview, hey guys, should we be concerned about Altuve not having an Altuve type of season we're used to? Already with the most strikeouts in a season.
Altuve's always a strikeout guy. He's a free swinger, so he's gonna get full. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just agree with you. He's just gonna swing freely. But he does have a point.
107.
Yeah, 107 strikeouts in 136 games. Go to 2022 and 2021 when he had 100 plus games too. 87 in 22 and 91 in 21.
Okay. I mean,
it's not a concern factor, I would say, though.
It just affects the batting average because, like, for example, when he struck out 70 times, he hit 338. When he struck out 53 times, he hit 341. But, I mean, now, you're talking about a guy who's hit the most leadoff home runs, like a second most leadoff home runs in Astros history. It's not a concern. I mean, his job is to get on base, yes. Would you want him to walk a little bit more? Probably, right? But when Altuve's hitting the ball, it gets the rest of the people hitting the ball.
It gets the people going.
Yeah.
Come on, you know where that's from. Come on, you know where that's from. If you don't know where that's from, we got some problems. We got some problems.
Balls of Fury, and then it's also
on the legendary movie. Yeah. Shout out Will Ferrell in them movies. He also had to mention as well, not taking any breaks at 34, of course, and Will Tucker coming back, the DH slot will be off limits for him as an option. Does he
I
mean off limits for Altuve, or does he mean off
I
limits
think
for?
with Tucker coming back, the DH would be off limits for him as an option. I don't know what you meant about that, but I think maybe Kyle Tucker plays the first few games as DH, but I see him in the outfield pretty soon.
Especially the way that Ben Gamel's been swinging the bat too. I think there's no problem with him using Tucker as a DH. Obviously, too, Tucker's going to get his reps in the outfield. But if he does talk about Altuve too, you got Mauricio Dubon at second base that you could put him in there and gives Altuve a break. I think Joe Espada has just done a good job about that, giving his players some rest days, giving them, Pena, Alvarez, Diaz, Altuve. I mean, he's just done a bunch of that because it's going to be very important for them to get going in October.
Yeah, I mean, and he's played in 135 games. Last year he played in 90. I mean, he was hurt a little bit, but 2022 was 141. I don't think Altuve's played more than 150 games since 2017.
Yeah,
So he'll get those day offs here and there.
yeah, he should be able to. I mean, then this is the cornerstone of this franchise. So
yeah,
if Altuve doesn't want to hit, then Altuve's not going to hit. Anyway, pitch and preview.
Oh, this is what he meant.
I meant if he wanted to take a break from playing second base, if Doobie was to take some playing time at second. Yeah. So more than likely, if Altuve gets a day off or he goes to the DH role, then more than likely Mauricio Dubon, who's done a good job this season, and I mean he done it last year too, he'll get some opportunities and some playing time at second base.
But Tucker will see the field. Tucker's not going to be DH for the rest of the spot just because it's usually for Jordan Alvarez, right? But Tucker will see the game. Now, it'll probably be like Alex Bregman. If you remember how he came back the first two games were at DH, and then he went back to the field. I can see that. Maybe first 2-3 games, Tucker's at DH, but he'll see the field. Man, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if he's on the field the first game back. I wouldn't be surprised, but just I'm sure the Astros are going to play it safe in that aspect.
Play it very cautiously, very important. Last bit of games in this season to make another push into the postseason. I think if they make the postseason, they've made it 9 out of their last 10 seasons, out of the last 10 years, really, which is really remarkable. That's called a dynasty. Pitching preview versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, 79-61 record. The D-backs are 5-5 in their last 10 games. Third in the National League West. They are currently second in the National League wild card. Like we mentioned in the last episode when it came to Around the Horn, which division is pretty damn scary. The NL West, I will say.
That was yours.
Yeah, that is a scary division. You got the Dodgers, of course, up there, but don't be afraid of them sneaky D-backs and the Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. just came back, and he already hit a walk-off. So
2 teams the Astros will see this month.
Yes, D-backs, and then they traveled to San Diego to play the Padres. Let's get that pitching preview out the way real quick. Friday, 7:10 start time. Beers on ice, like always. Brandon Pfaadt, 9-7 record, 4.32 ERA. He'll be going against Framber Valdez with 13.6 record, 3.11 ERA, and I think I'm saying his name right. If I'm not, my mistake. Pfaadt, Pfaadt.
You got to pronounce the T with a D a little bit.
Pfaadt.
Yeah,
Pfaadt. Anyway, let's just say Brandon. How about that? Brandon. Last start versus the Dodgers, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. This guy has a great off speed, 88 percentile with the run value on it being a 4. And another guy, just like Yusei Kikuchi, that doesn't walk a lot of people. Hardly walks anyone. He has a 5.1 walking percentage. That is 92nd percentile, according to StatCast. A pitch that I believe that the Astros are going to see a little bit more compared to 2023. He's thrown his sinker a little bit more often this year compared to last season. In 2023, he only threw it 160 times. That is 9.9% of his arsenal. Going to 2024, 533, a huge jump.
Yeah,
from a 9.9% to a 22.2%. but the ball does still get hit pretty hard. 275 opponent batting average with a WOBA of 298. Four seamer is really good. Like I said, the off speed as well, like that run value pretty much shows you in the percentile of the Statcast. If I'm an Astros hitter, you're sitting on that sinker because that is one of the pitches that gets hit hard the most out of his whole arsenal.
Yeah, the thing with Fat is that 4.32 ERA might not show it, but he showed it in the World Series what he can do, especially in that postseason with the last year. And he's a guy you can't really take lightly. It's just like the Reds pitches, right? A little sneaky there. Yeah, like he makes mistakes, but he has the ability to shut a team out. And I think Ashley needs to be able to take advantage of his mistakes.
Yeah, I think this guy likes to pitch. I would say like in the bright lights or when the games really matter most. Um, but of course, it's September already, so maybe he likes to pitch with a postseason atmosphere at Minute Maid Park. So, like Angel said, don't let the ERA deceive you. But Framber Valdez, who has been pitching really great in the past couple, really the last really stretch of this season. Last start versus KC had a no hitter going. 7 innings, no hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. I believe it didn't have that high pitch count. Possibly he would have been pitching in that 8th inning. But a little bit more about Framber Valdez. Instead of his strikeout percentage and the strikeout rate that he already does, he leads Major League Baseball with 29 ground balls, double plays, DPs. That's really been his bread and butter this season. Logan Webb is next on that list, being with 21. But with Framber Valdez, you're going to get that ground ball to strikeout ratio more than anything. And we've already kind of talked about this earlier in the episode. I mean, this guy honestly isn't the conversation for the Cy Young candidacy. I could see him as a top 5 Cy Young guy finishing at this end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's what? Give me a second. He's 13-6 with 3.11 ERA, 1.11 WHIP, 146 strikeouts. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's been people with a little worse record that went Cy Young's there. So, I mean, he's a candidate, but I honestly think with the way Schoolball's pitching, it's kind of like his for the team.
Well, Schoolball's running it away with it, honestly.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I will say, like I said, top 5, I think he finishes in the voting.
Yeah, I think so. Top 5.
So if he continues pitching like this,
Absolutely.
same thing goes for Hunter Brown. I think he could get in that category as well, in the top 5. 6:10 start time on Saturday. Eduardo Rodriguez, former Detroit Tiger, 2-1 record with a 5.33
Boston
ERA.
Red Sox too.
Boston Red Sox as well. Yusei Kikuchi's on the other mount, who has seen a lot of AL East teams. 7-9 record with a 4.24 ERA. And Eduardo Rodriguez, last start versus the Dodgers, didn't go really well for him. 4 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Like we had mentioned before, he pitched with the Tigers last season. Tigers did go against Houston both times, being away from Comerica and being at Detroit. And Rodriguez lost both those starts against Houston last year. And as well in those starts, he didn't complete through 5 innings and gave up 4 earned runs in each of those starts. I'll say game 1 real quick: 4 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. And then the second start, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. So pretty almost even from those 2 starts. Obviously, you're seeing they're only getting 1 strikeout out of them starts against the Astros. Astros did really well with their play discipline and attacking his fastball. But this is a guy that's barely coming off from an injury that's been plaguing him throughout the whole season. So it could be a different guy with a fresher arm.
Okay, I think he's only had a handful of starts this season. So I mean, just like, I mean, we can never take him lightly. That's what I'm trying to say. Just don't take him lightly, because if this Red Series show goes to show, you know, anybody can have their A game and shut out the Astros a little bit.
Anything can happen. Anything. Just like Akuchi going over the 5
Yeah.
2/3 plateau in his last
7
start against the
innings.
Kansas City Royals.
7 innings.
7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 12 punch outs.
Do you think he continues this trend he's on with the Astros?
As in pitching really well, or
Yeah, pitching really
into
well.
that 7 inning?
No, pitching really well.
I think so. Other than against the D-backs, I don't think the D-backs have seen him this season. I think this is a great test for him too, because these are Kansas City was a postseason team. I'm pretty sure that they'll get in the wild card or the division. Just depends on in the last couple of games. You're going against another postseason team, um, like the Arizona Diamondbacks. So this is a great test for Kikuchi. If he gets through this one, I can say that he could finish off the season really well,
Absolutely, absolutely.
because you got Oakland, you got Anaheim, you got Arizona, not Arizona, Seattle, and then of course San Diego and Cleveland. But of course, we don't know until that time comes to see who he's going to pitch against in those series. Sunday start time 110. Ryan Nelson, Ryan Ryne Ryan Nelson,
Mm-hmm.
10-6 record, 4.15 ERA. He'll be going against Justin Verlander with a 3.5 record, 4.52 ERA. And Nelson, on the other hand, last start against the San Francisco Giants, 6 and 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. I think he's been a really great addition to this rotation for the Diamondbacks. He did come out of the bullpen last year against the Astros and pitched 3 straight quality starts so far. Has looked really well after the All-Star break. He has a 4.0 record with a 2.88 ERA and a 2.20 opponent batting average. Already coming up with the most innings he's pitched in his career. Right now, it's at 143. His career high is at 144. So when he goes against the Astros, he is going to pass his career high in innings pitch.
Nice. I did not know that.
Yeah, great addition to add to your fantasy lineups as well.
Playoffs. It's playoffs.
It is playoffs. Justin Verlander, on the other hand, his last start against the Reds just didn't go as planned. 4 and 2/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. We already had that debate of if the season ended today, would you be comfortable starting him in game 2 or game 3? Angel says yes. I, at the moment, say no, because I think you could put Hunter Brown or you say Kikuchi. But if you haven't listened to that episode, make sure you tune into that last part and hear the rest of it.
Based on this pitching matchups, I mean, to me, they're pretty good pitching matchups for both teams. Honestly, which game do you think the Astros have a better chance to win?
I would say against Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah,
I think that is your best one. Not saying Brandon Fat isn't. I think Brandon Fat and that one's going to be like a close first. But I think just for the fact that the Astros have seen Eduardo Rodriguez through the years, like you were saying, in Boston as well as in Detroit, I think they have a better game plan against him compared to guys that they haven't seen, which Brandon, they haven't seen him last year, as well as Ryan Nelson. Nelson, they only saw him for an inning. But I think pitching wise for the Astros, that's the one that you want to see. I think an excellent pitching matchup for this series, I would say the Friday night series with
absolutely.
Fat and Valdez.
And I agree with you. I think the Saturday game with Eduardo Rodriguez, I mean, coming off injury, he hasn't looked so sharp from that. But I would say the Friday game too, have a pretty good shot of winning, just because Fernando Valdez keeps you in the game. If like this little stretch that he's on continues, he's gonna give you a chance. And I think the Astros offense just needs to take advantage of any mistakes that Brandon Pett does, any walks, errors that the Diamondbacks give them. I think if they're able to do that, they have a chance to go 2-1 in this series, I would say.
Yeah, this is a great matchup for the Astros to prepare themselves for the postseason. Like I said, they're going to be playing good teams. I mean, they already played against KC. They're playing Arizona, probably going to be in the postseason. I think I can say San Diego too. Right now, looking at it, they look like they made the postseason, and then they're going to be ending the season off at Cleveland, going against the Guardians. So these are all great matchups for them. Yes, it's tough, but it's going to help them, I think, going into the postseason. I think it even benefits like both teams, trying to see what happened in that series and what they can pick on each other going into the next.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't cut the Diamondbacks out. Go ahead.
Yeah. Houston X Factor 10 again. Astros will sweep Arizona because it is what the Astros do, humiliate playoff caliber teams.
Interesting take.
A very interesting take. And then Joshua, sorry I was gone for so long. I hope I'm still one of the main supporters on this show. Yes, you are. You are still one of the main guys on this show. But yes, very great series matchup for the Astros.
Cool. So let's move on to the train station. Just so the kickoff was pushed back to 7:40. So I guess we have time. But moving on, Kyle Tucker's almost back. So there was, news circulating around that he could potentially be back in the Cincinnati Red series. Uh, it didn't happen, right? But this is according to Matt Karikawa from the Houston Chronicle, great guy. Uh, Follow him on Twitter as well. Joe Espada said the hope is Kyle Tucker can be activated tomorrow, which is Friday. The Astros are gauging how Tucker recovers from his pregame work here the last few days. So I mean, it's looking promising. I would say I would be surprised if he's not activated this series. I mean, that's just my take on that.
No, he's going to be activated. The part of it is which game is he going to play?
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Saturday more than Friday of the opener.
Okay. I mean, yeah, and if anything, I think if he does play Friday, he'll DH like I said, maybe DH the first two games, then be back on the field. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if he's playing right field tomorrow, but I think DH is more likely.
Mm-hmm.
And I also added Bruno Blanco in this because he's not hurt, but Daniel Brown did say he would be the odd man out if they actually go back to a 5-man rotation, and they're actually going to skip his start. So Houston will skip Bruno Blanco's turn in the rotation. However, it's a temporary one because he is set to return when the Astros go back to a 6-man rotation during that 16-game stretch without a break. So I think a little one day off for a little few days off for Bruno Blanco could do it some just, I believe. How you've been saying too about his fatigue, innings pitched. It's a number he hasn't been before, so giving him a break. He might maybe pitch an inning in the bullpen, but other than that, it should be good. Now in the postseason, I think Ronald Blanco is going to be an excellent addition to the bullpen. He has that experience of doing that, so it's not like something new. It's not shocking for him, but at the end of the day, if Ronald does pitch before his next turn in rotation, probably be like an inning.
I think he should pitch an inning in the bullpen or even two, just to get familiar in that role. Just in case the Astros, like I said, if they make the postseason and the Astros kind of run into a tough situation, a scenario that Joe Spot is like, shit, we're down 4 or 5 runs. I got to get the bullpen hot. Ronel Blanco would be the guy. So I think this is a great, like you said, it'd be a great addition for him to go into that bullpen role. I think that the Astros might need to put him in a game in a situation like that. Not necessarily like if the Astros are down 5 or all that type of stuff, but to get him familiar in that role. I'm pretty sure he's already pitched from the bullpen, but the postseason and the regular season are two different breeds.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like it's something new though. So, but I mean, I do agree with you. Get his feet wet a little bit, but if they don't, I'm not too concerned going into payouts because he's had that experience before.
Yeah.
And then some roster moves that we need to talk to you about. I know we posted them on social media, but just in case you missed that, Jake Myers has been reinstated from the paternity list. I'm sure he'll start this series against Arizona. Right-handed pitcher Nick Hernandez was free call from AAA. Cesar Salazar and Forrest Ridley were optioned to AAA. I think this is just to get a fresh arm in the bullpen. Nick Hernandez was with the Astros in the bullpen earlier. Had a rough start, brought him back to AAA, and now he's back here. It's a fresh arm, just to get how you were saying with Abreu, with Presti, all these guys, Scott, that have been overworked, just to give them a little breather there. Not, am I saying Nick Hernandez is going to come in crucial 8th inning spot? Probably not, right? But just to eat up an inning or two.
Yeah, but shout out to Forrest Willie, honestly, too. He really did a really good job out of the bullpen for the Astros in this series against the Reds.
Yeah, he looked good. I think he struck out the side on Monday.
Yeah,
he looked good.
I wouldn't be surprised if he might come back again, maybe later.
Absolutely. But let's move on to around the horn, and I don't know if you heard, but Cubs threw a no-hitter. It was a combined no-hitter. Shohei Imanaga threw 7 strong, then followed up by Nate Pearson and Porter Hodge. Miguel Maya was the catcher behind the plate. He caught 114 pitches. And honestly, I have Shota in my fantasy league, so I'm just going to bring this out. No. The reason I bring that up is because him being able to pitch 7 no-hitting is pretty phenomenal, because there's stretches where he goes 5, 4 2/3 just because he throws he gets into walk problems, and he did walk two guys there. But the fact, I guess the Pirates, he was really efficient, and he was at 95 pitches after 7th innings. He had a chance to go one more, but Craig Counsell decides to play it safe, and I mean, it conserved a no hitter, so I'm sure he's not too worried about that. This is the first no hitter in Wrigley Field in 52 years. The last time it happened was 1972. This is the 18th no hitter in Cubs history as well.
Very historical. In 52 years, though, Jesus.
It's crazy.
Don't count the Cubs out, though. Do not count them out of
I know you were
the
looking at the standings. Where they at?
New York Mets are the last team out, which they're half a game back in the wild card, and then the Cubs are 4.5 games back in the wild card, as well as in the NL Central as well.
Okay.
So don't count them out. But like you were saying, I think this was a great for Imanaga too. I mean, he had a phenomenal beginning of the season, and then kind of like in the middle part and getting towards the end, it's kind of filling off a little bit, but pretty damn cool. No hitter.
Yeah, and then Matt Chapman signs with the Giants, and then we saw like signs an extension, 6 year, 151 million. Now, why are we talking about this? Well, it's third baseman signed a 6 year, 151 million. The Astros have a third baseman who's a big free agent looking to get paid. I think this deal, Alex Bregman's not going to ask for a penny less than 151 million. So if you're the Astros, you know what the minimum is, and I'm sure Bregman's gonna want a little bit more than the minimum. I'm sure he's gonna start high, say 200, right? 200 million, but then that's where you got to work with. I think maybe Bregman gets 100, 160, 100. From 160 to 200, I think that's where Bregman's at, because Matt Chapman set the bar at 151.
I think the Astros, if you're the Astros, I think maybe 170, like you were saying, 160, maybe 175.
Yeah.
I think you would go as your max. I don't think the Astros either have signed a guy more than 5 years plus.
Mm.
I think I could be wrong though, because Alex Bregman did. I think Alex Bregman did sign a 5-year extension when Luno gave it to him. Did Alvarez sign a 6-year? I think Alvarez might have signed a 6-year.
It was a 6-year. So Matt Chapman's 31, so he's playing what? So he's
Bregman's 37, a year younger.
And then Bregman is 31. Bregman's 30. So I mean, a 6-year deal for a 31-year-old. Yes, it's a year difference, but I mean, if you're willing to give it to 31-year-old, they should be willing to give it to a 30-year-old.
Yeah, if it's under 151, he's not taking it.
There's absolutely
no way he's not taking it. Honestly, if you're comparing both Chapman and Bregman, I think Bregman overall
has the edge.
That's what I would say too. Even though Chapman does have the Gold Gloves, I mean, Alex Bregman at a time was second runner-up to Mike Trout in the 2019 MVP voting. Has been to the postseason, 2-time World Series champion, All-Star MVP. I forgot to mention that as well. The only thing right now that's not going for Bregman is this injury that's happening to him at this moment. That's going to be a determined factor to see how much he's going to get. If he's going to get over that 150, even if he even could get to the 200, it's just going to see how Alex Bregman's elbow is doing, because I'm pretty sure a lot of teams are going to want to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, they're very similar. Right now, it's like it says that Chapman has a 6.0 WAR and Bregman has a 3.1 WAR, but honestly, like, they're not too far apart. And I would honestly give Alex Bregman the edge, like we said earlier. I think offensively, he's a much better hitter than Chapman, and it's surprising just the way Alex Bregman has not won a Gold Glove just with the excellent defense he plays. It's very surprising.
But then again, I mean, who's on the other side of them Gold Gloves?
Yeah,
it's Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
But another reason, another case to give Bregman that money is that he's an iron horse, man. He grinds out the whole season. I'm looking at it right now. 2017, 155 games. 2018, 157 games. 2019, 156 games. 2020, obviously the shortened COVID season. 2021, 91 games. And that was dealing with a hamstring injury that year. And I think he was in a slump too going into the postseason. 2022, 155 games. 23, 161. 24, 127.
And this is Chapman. I have Chapman's number, so Chapman 2018 145 games, 19, which is the only All-Star appearance, 156 games. 2020 doesn't count. 2021 151, 2022 155, 2023 140, and now he has 136 right now.
So both of them are pretty much iron horses. Um, the only thing with Bregman, like I said, I think he just has great discipline at the plate. And I think the bat's better than Matt Chapman. Nothing against him. Both of them have a great glove. Both of them can play a long season. The durability. Right now for Bregman though, the walks that's been one of the biggest things Bregman has been really good at when it comes to play discipline. His walk rate this season hasn't been the best. Hasn't been the best. 37 walks. That is a career low. If you take away, excluding 2020, that is a career low for Alex Bregman, 37. The next one up after 37 is 44, and that was in 2021. But that was two. He missed a bunch of games.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's just a little bit more aggressive. 21 home runs, 61 RBIs. Um, 2021, going back over there again, 12 home runs, 55 RBIs. The RBI production has always been there for him. Last two seasons in 22 and 23, 93 and 98.
Okay. So,
He's a Boris Klein as well, not to mention.
yeah, so
He is a Boris Klein.
I'm sure they're gonna wait till spring training to get a deal done just to see what their options and see where they're at.
Yeah, just ask Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery about that.
I mean, it worked for one guy, didn't work for the other, so we'll see there.
Let's see.
And then lastly, legendary Rice head coach Wayne Graham unfortunately passed away yesterday. I think he was 88 years old.
It's a long life.
Yeah, a lot of former major league players like Roger Clemens, who was it? Philip Umber, Jose Cruz Jr. We're all just rallying about how great Wayne Graham is. There's a story with Brian McTaggart there. You can check that out. But a big loss in the college baseball community there.
How can you forget about the Big Puma, man?
Oh, yeah.
Lance Berkman.
Yeah.
Forgot another guy. World Series champion.
Talk to me.
You probably don't know. Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, Anthony Rendon. Yes, he was a Rice guy. Yeah.
I think he was the last. I think his team was the last team that Graham coached. I want to say. I'm not 100% on that, but I want to say, I think. But yeah, I mean, long life, man. 88 years old. A guy that's pioneered the college baseball world. Really got Rice their first ever
2003
college baseball championship. 2003.
Yeah. And then just in honor of Football Bet, another news is Bill Belichick has an Instagram account, so go follow him. Just 2 minutes to kick off, so we'll wrap it up there.
Did you see what he called it though before we wrap it
No,
up?
tell.
He called it Instaface. And he said, I'm not gonna like saying this, but now I am on Instaface. And they started laughing. They're like, nah, dude, it's Instagram.
Of course.
Oh, but like Angel said, it's almost time. It's almost that football feeling in H-Town, which that is going to be Sunday. Obviously, it's not going to be in Houston. It'll be in Indy for Game 1 against Anthony Richardson. The Colts, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out Bring on the Blitz podcast. They are going to be the guys for all your Houston Texans content, as well as the National Football League. So make sure you go give them a follow and check out their latest podcast. I think they did a preview against the Texans and Colts, so that should be very fun.
Absolutely.
Other than that, ticker down below, social media, follow us all, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter as well. Of course, on our podcast platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts is where you can go and find us. Angel, anything else before we sign off?
No, just thank you for listening, and football's back, baby.
Football is back. Be on the lookout. There might be a giveaway tomorrow.
Ooh, okay.
Might be it. Until then, y'all stay safe. Have a blessed weekend. Make sure you have a fun and safe weekend, though, too. But I'll talk to you on that recap against the Diamondbacks and give that preview going against the Oakland Athletics, the last time they'll be called Oakland. See ya.
Peace.